Here's number one. In fact, we might all agree on number one of the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. Number one is philosophy. Philosophy. Our ability to establish a philosophy by using our mind, the ability to think, to process ideas and information. What an important function this is. Using the mind, the ability to think, process ideas and information, and establish our philosophy. Our philosophy that dictates our dreams for the future, objectives and purposes and goals, and a reasonable plan to get there in a reasonable amount of time. That's our philosophy. This is what establishes our philosophy. And here's what's unique. Only human beings can do this. Only human beings can establish a philosophy. Reorder your life anytime you want to. Other life forms can't do it. Only human beings. A goose can only fly what direction in the winter? South. How come a goose has to go south in the winter? Because he's a goose. Can't go north, can't go any other direction. Driven by what? Instinct and the genetic code. But see, that's not true of human beings. We're not just driven by instinct and the genetic code. Human beings can go north in the winter. We can go south, we can go east, we can go west. We can do anything we want to. We can tear up an old life script the last 5 years and design a whole new 5 years. Only human beings can do that. The only life form on earth that can do that. Establish a philosophy and change your life anytime you want to. Change your income anytime you want to. Change your circumstances anytime you want to. Change location anytime you want to. Change it all, do it all, go any direction. Only humans can do that of all life forms on earth. Now, what's important is to develop the ability to use all of these possibilities here to develop a more refined philosophy that will help you to order your life, pick up the values that you want, go for the treasures that are important to you. Philosophy. How important? Now, if you were to have asked me at age 25, if you would have met me at age 25 and you would have said to me, Jim Rohn, how come you find yourself living in America here and yet you're in such an unfortunate position? Pennies in your pocket after working 6 years? Nothing in the bank, behind on your big mouth promises to your family. You live in America, you've been to at least 1 year of college. Wouldn't you legitimately have said to me, what's wrong here? If you would have asked me that question at age 25, it would never have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. That would never have occurred to me. I didn't know. And if you would have said, Jim Rohn, how come you find yourself in an unfortunate position here at age 25, embarrassed? I had more of a tendency to blame the government. It's those Democrats. I found that easier to blame than my philosophy. I used to blame interest rates. I used to blame taxes. I used to say taxes are too what? High. Guess what the top tax rate was when I first started paying taxes? 91%. Top federal tax rate. Now the top federal tax rate is what? About 33%. But people are still saying what? Taxes are too. See, that old dog won't hunt, we say in Mississippi. How can you use that excuse? If the tax rate's gone from 91% down to 33, it can't be taxes. Why you find yourself in an unfortunate position. So I used to blame interest rates. I used to blame prices. I used to say things cost too much. You must be familiar with this old list. I used to blame the weather. I used to blame the traffic. I used to blame the company policy. I used to say, if this is all they pay, how do they expect you to do well by your family and save for the future and become financially independent? If this is all they pay, that's what I thought was wrong with my life at age 25. All this stuff out there. Then I found out that that was not it. Here's what I found out. All the stuff that I used to blame, we called the wind. The wind. And it is true, we all need a wind to take us somewhere, but here's where we want to finally arrive. We finally want to arrive where we've got treasures, and we've got values, we've got productivity, and we've got success, we've got lifestyle, equities of all kinds, whatever makes life unique and worthwhile. Here's where we want to arrive. Now, we've got a pretty good wind blowing in America, probably the best wind that's ever blown in 6,500 years of recorded history. I mean, it can't blow much better than it blows here. You say, well, then how come this wind is not blowing me to a good place? Well, you can't depend just on the wind. Here's what makes the difference, the set of the sail. And you've got to make that little note. The same wind blows on us all. The difference is the set of the sail. And that's what I want to share with you today, the set of the new sail. That's what the sermon is for on Sunday morning. Help you set a better sail. That's what books are for. That's what learning is for. That's what school is for. So that this wind doesn't just blow you on the rocks, doesn't just blow you on the beach. It's true, some people do so little constructive thinking, they don't even have their sail up. So you can imagine where they're going to wind up what? It's called disaster. But I'm telling you, if you do just a little constructive thinking, let your mind go to work on ideas and information, refine your philosophy and set a better sail, I'm telling you, you can get so good at this that after a while you could care less about the wind that blows. It will not frighten you anymore. Because now you've got the information. Now you've got a refined philosophy. It's given you a firm footing. It's given you something to put up this sail so that regardless of the wind that blows, it takes you exactly where you want to go, where you want to arrive. And that's what made the difference for me. The set of the sail, the thinking process, the ability to come up with ideas and information. Make your life unique and worthwhile. Now, what is philosophy? I've been teaching kids for the last 18, 19 years how to be rich by 40. In fact, I'm coming out with a new book. My fourth book will probably be ready early next year, and I think the title is going to be, Of Course Kids Should Pay Taxes. It's going to be a good book. You're going to like it. Right. In California, kids do pay taxes. So the big debate here is, should they? That's a good question. Should they? If an 8-year-old walks into 7-Eleven and buys something that costs $1, the proprietor now asks the child for, what, 7 more pennies. Kid says, what's the 7 pennies for? Proprietor says, well, that's the taxes. And kid says, well, I'm only 8 years old. Proprietor says, congratulations, you're my youngest taxpayer. Give me the money. So in California, kids do pay taxes. Now the question is, in the debate, should they? And my book answers that. Of course, kids should pay taxes. If you want to ride your bicycle on the sidewalk instead of in the mud, you have to pay 7 pennies. So what? Everybody has to pay. That's the ultimate part. Everybody has to pay. To keep tyranny over there instead of over here, you got to pay. If that carriers are expensive, how much do you think they cost? We can't use used missiles. It's expensive, so everybody has to pay, including kids. So the debate is, should kids pay taxes? My book answers that, yes, of course. Kids should pay taxes. Now, I've been teaching kids how to be rich by 40. If you start as a teenager, simple, rich by 40. 35 if you're extra bright. And most kids think they're extra bright, so they go for 35. Or much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. I was a millionaire by 31, so you don't have to wait till 35 if you find a unique opportunity. Now, when I talk to kids about how to be rich and powerful, and sophisticated and healthy and influential, once I get them sold on it, they say, okay, Mr. Rohn, I'm ready. How do I do that? Here's what I tell them. It starts with your philosophy. So now what do they ask me? What is philosophy? I mean, you know, that's a pretty big word, right, for some kids. So let me give you my definition of philosophy that I give to my teenage friends. I figure if I can break it down so they can understand it easier, I can understand it easier. Here's what our philosophy is. Number one, the sum total of all that we know. You just add up all you know. That's what helps to build your philosophy. And then here's number two. It's not just what you know, it's what you decide is valuable. Because you can't do all you know. If you know 1,000 things, you can't do 1,000. So what do you have to do? You gather up the 1,000 ideas, then you got to sort through them. and do what? Decide which ones are valuable. If it's not valuable, hey, you don't waste your money. If it's not valuable, hey, you don't waste your time. But if it is valuable, you put in your money. If it is valuable, you what? Put in your time and effort, if it is valuable. Well, here's two things that establishes our philosophy. Number one, gathering knowledge. That's what school is for, gather knowledge. But that's not the only purpose. That's not the only way to establish the philosophy. Number one, we gather knowledge. Number two, we sort through it all and decide which is valuable, which isn't valuable. What not to waste your time doing, what to put your time to. Now that process establishes our philosophy. So now there's two parts to it. Here's number one. It's very important to know. You gotta know. That's what I tell my teenage friends every time I get a chance to talk to a high school class or a college class, university class. You gotta know. So pay attention to the information that's going on here at school. What you think of it, that's up to you, and what you're gonna do with it, that'll soon be up to you. But while you're here, make sure you get it. I got a good phrase from my teenage friends. Here it is. Don't leave school without it. I mean, you know, don't walk out of here without some stuff for your head to ponder and think about. I told the Newport Harbor high school kids, said there's nothing worse than being stupid. You gotta know. Being broke is bad, but being stupid, that's what's really bad. And what's really, really bad is being broke and stupid, right? I mean, nothing much worse than that. Unless you're sick, broken, stupid. About as far as you can fall. Well, there's probably one more. Ugly? But, hey, that would do it, wouldn't it? Ugly, sick, broken, stupid. Life's worst scenario. So you gotta know, you gotta have the information. So since that's true, let's correct a couple of old cliches. Here they are, let's correct them. This is an intelligent audience, let's correct a couple of old cliches. Here's the first one. What you don't know will hurt you. Just make that intelligent correction. What you don't know will hurt your bank account. If you don't know, what you don't know will hurt your health. What you don't know will hurt your future, leave you with an empty purse and an empty heart. What you don't know, ask a person who's 50 and broke. And just, you know, a few little questions. What you soon find out what? Nice guy, but he just doesn't know. So you gotta know. Here's another old cliche, let's correct this one. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is devastation. Ignorance is tragedy. Ignorance is illness. It all stems from ignorance. So you gotta know, you gotta have the information. Okay. Now, where do we get ideas and information that can help transform our life? Let's go through the information. Just take these notes. Here's number one, PE, personal experience. It's one way to pick up ideas from your own personal experience. One way to learn to do it right is what? Do it wrong. Now the key is don't let it take too long. If you've done it wrong 10 years, we suggest that's long enough. We don't suggest 10 more years just to prove a point. No! If you're broke at the end of 10 years, couldn't we evaluate that? Yes! I meet Mr. Shope, I've been working 6 years. He said, Mr. Rohn, you've been working 6 years, how are you doing? I said, not very well. He said, I suggest you not do that anymore. Are you going to go another 6? Wouldn't you like the next 6 to be totally different than the last 6? And I said, yes, sir. Then he said, we're going to find out, first of all, where you've messed up. We're going to change that so that the next 6 are totally different than the last 6. And the reason human beings can do that is because they're human beings. Not a goose, not a spider, not an alligator. Human beings can tear up the last 6 and develop a whole brand new 6. Anytime you want to. I did it. If I did it, I'm a farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity. There's anybody in this room that can't do it. So, number one, learn from your own experience. Here's number 2, OPE. Just jot that down. Other people's experiences. That's why I'm here. I'm one of these other people. If I come along and share with you, no telling what I might save you from. You got to listen to other people. Save you a bankruptcy. Listen to somebody. Save you a divorce. Listen to somebody. Save you loss of a friendship. Okay? Listen to somebody. Save you a tragedy. Save you from falling out of the sky. Save you from a cardiovascular disaster. Save you. So other people can be so valuable. Now the other people are divided into two categories. Here they are. Number one, failures. You got to listen to the failures. It's too bad failures don't give seminars. I'm telling you, be valuable. A guy that's messed up his life for 40 years. You just got to say, John, would you spend a day with me? I'll bring my journal. Take excellent notes. Tell me. Good-looking guy like you, got a beautiful family, every reason for doing well, threw it all away. Tell me how you messed up. I'll take the notes. So here's the clue. Learn from negative as well as positive. Learn from failure as well as success. That's why the Bible is such a good book. I'm an amateur, but I'm telling you, it's a good book. Why? It's got a list of stories on both sides of the ledger, human stories. One list of human stories in the Bible is called examples. Do what these people did. Look how it worked out. And the other list is what? Warnings. Warnings. Don't do what these clods did. It's disaster. What a good book with two sets of stories on the positive and the negative side. So learn from failure as well as success. In our leadership series we teach, find out what poor people read and don't read it. Gosh, this stuff's easy to learn. Find out how they talk and what? Don't talk that way. Find out the language they use and don't use it. Find out what they blame and get you a different list. I'm telling you, learn from failure. Learn from tragedy. Okay, now here's the other side. Learn from success. People have got something going of value that you could learn from. Whatever the value is. A mother who has magic with her children. Wouldn't you want to know? Of course. You say, Mary, would you meet me tomorrow morning for breakfast? Meet in a little cafe? You won't believe the service. I'll pick up the tab. She says, okay. She meets you tomorrow morning for breakfast. You say, Mary, I gotta know, where did you get this magic with your children? She says, well, to be honest with you, up until 3 years ago, my kids were out of control. And then I read this book. I went to this class. And they gave me a little 1, 2, 3 program. And I've been using that now the last 3 years, and that's how come I got this magic with my children. Would that be a valuable breakfast? Would you pick up the tab? Of course. Here's what can save you so much heartache and put you on the road to wealth and power and success, and that is picking up the information from other people. Now here's part of how you do it. Number one, observe, watch what's going on. Some people are doing it right, and what? Some people are messing it up. Just watch what's happening during the day. Watch what's going on. Pay attention. Don't just stagger through the day. In leadership, we discuss, most people are just trying to get through the day. Here's what wise people learn to do. Get from the day. Learn some lessons before the day is over by just watching what's going on. Here's number 2, and that is to listen. You've got to become a good listener. Now it is challenging, listening well. Here's why. So many voices want our attention. How do you sort through all the voices today? I'm telling you, it's a challenge. Radio voices and television voices, and religious voices and advertising voices, and commercial voices, family voices, community voices, political voices, voices of all kinds. How do you sort through all that and not waste your time on voices that don't count? I'm telling you, it's a challenge. But you got to do like tuning in your radio. Tune out the static and tune out the shallow and tune out the silly. Find a voice of value, stay for a while. Keep tuning, find a voice of value, stay for a while. That's the clue. On Sunday morning we ask you to come and what? Stay for a while. Listen to the voice of value. We ask you to come to a seminar and what? Stay for a while. That's why we put some of this stuff on cassette tape, so you can stay for a while. When your hands are busy and your mind is free, turn your car into a mobile classroom and just stay for a while listening to someone that has something valuable to share. So, here's what we've got to teach our children in the 90s, parents. Here it is, the skill of selective listening. Don't spend most of your time on voices that don't count. Gonna add too little worth to your future? Don't waste your time on the shallow and the silly. A lot of that going on in California. Shallow and the silly. I'm in Kansas City the other day. They haven't heard about these affirmations and all that stuff going on here in California. I mean, California's part weird, right? California. I told them in Kansas City, I said, some people in California are rubbing crystals to try to be successful. You wouldn't believe it. Some are what? Sleeping under pyramids. I mean, California's part weird. Affirmations. Multi-track. Subliminal, bombard your pre-conscious, subconscious, deprogram you, reprogram you. I mean, ocean waves and seagulls yet. I mean, you know, weird stuff that hasn't gotten to Kansas City. I mean, you know, California. Unbelievable. I said, you know, some Californians are moving to Sedona, Arizona, where all these force fields are supposed to come together. And if you rub a crystal and sleep under a pyramid in Sedona, right then, change your life for the better. But hey, forget all that. When I talk to teenagers in my lectures, colleges, high schools, they're so happy to know they don't have to move to Sedona, right? Become rich and powerful and sophisticated, healthy and influential. So don't fool with that stuff. We don't have to teach our teenagers how to channel, find a 2,000-year-old guru. We don't have to do that. I'm telling you, it's too easy to get rich. Don't have to fool with the silly stuff, right? Some of that's dangerous anyway. Kids are afraid of it, right? So don't fool with that. You'll be out on a limb with Shirley if you fool with too much of that stuff. Anyway. No, do whatever you want. It's up to you. You wanted my point of view, so you got it. But yeah, you don't have to walk on fire. I'm telling you, don't. You don't have to do something spectacular. There's some simple, easy, basic reasons why people like I at age 25 are broke. Not destitute, but broke. Pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, way behind on my big mouth promises, not doing well, wondering what went wrong. It's too easy to figure out what went wrong. And then it's too easy to change it, to fool with all the spooky nonsense that's going on today. So just pass on all that. Just some good, basic, fundamental, solid stuff that kids can understand, right? Kids don't need their own private psychic, you know, to try to help them figure out the future. This stuff's too easy. Getting rich is too easy. I got rich by the time I was 31. Here's the best advice I give my teenage friends. It was easy. What can I tell you? It was hard? No, it was easy. I'm a millionaire by 31. Let me tell you how I did it. I got 3 reasons why I got rich by the time I was 31. Let me give you those. Here's number 1. I lived in America. I mean, how lucky can you get? America's easy. That's why everybody wants to come here. People haven't plotted and schemed for 50 years saying if I could just get to Poland, everything would be okay. No! No! The boat people are not desperately trying to get to Vietnam. No. They're not squeezing through the fence to try to get into Mexico. No. Neil Diamond says, looks like everybody's heading for... They're all coming to America. Why? Everybody wants to come here by every means possible to get here. Why? Because America's easy. So if you go home with anything, go home with that. Mr. Rohn reminded us that America's easy. He got rich by the time he was 31. America's easy. Bangladesh is hard. Just take that home. Here's the average yearly income in Bangladesh, $120. That would be hard. Tell me hard versus easy. So America's easy. Cambodia would be hard. The Khmer Rouge killed 2 million Cambodians to make communism work. That's hard. America is easy. India would be hard. They got their challenges these days. Tough. America's easy. China would be really hard. Underline really and make a study. It's hard. America's easy. Now, in about 90 days, you can have that memorized. I'm telling you, that's all you need. I got rich by the time I was 31. I lived in America. America's easy. Now, here's number 2. I found an opportunity. That's all you got to do in America, search for an opportunity. Take the first one, right? Try it. That isn't it. It leads to another. One door closes, another door opens. This is what's exciting about America. It's full of opportunity. A chance to try, and then what? Try again, and then what? Try again? Never run out of opportunity to try. See if you can't better your life and your health and your future and your bank account and your income. Make your fortune here. I lived in America, number one. Found an opportunity, number three. Number two, here's number three. I found a teacher. What a grand and glorious, unique thing that was for me at that time in my life. I found a teacher willing to teach me. And his teaching came in two parts. Here's what it was. Very simple. Number one, Mr. Rohn, you have evidently messed up between ages 19 and 25. Now, I could understand that. But he didn't leave me there. He said, now here's the answers on how to change it all, the next 6 years, so that the next 6 years won't be like the last 6. What an incredible teacher. Taught me how to have a whole brand new 6 years. First 6, what? I messed up. Second 6, what? I got it right. Second 6 years, I became a millionaire. During that second 6 years, the government was about the same. I'm telling you. Interest rates were about what? The same. The pay scale was about what? The same. Lord knows my negative relatives were the same. Circumstances were about the same. The economy was about the same. The unions and their philosophy was about the same. What was going on around me was about the same. Then how come I got rich that second 6 years? I was not the same. I changed. You say, well, Mr. Rohn, if you can do that, can anybody do it? Yes, I invite you on that journey. Anytime you want to. You can stay the same so that the next 6 years will be like the last 6. Take a look at the last 6 years. And I'm telling you, the next 6 years of your life is going to be like the last 6. Unless you change. Or unless you want to count on this short list that we call not much list. Most everybody's counting on this not much list. What if all of your negative relatives turn positive? What would that do for your future and your fortune? What? Not much. Not much. What if prices came down a little? What will that do for your future? I'm telling you, not much. If the economy gets a little better, what will that do? Not much. Now that the Democrats are in power, what's that going to do for your future? Not much. We could get a good debate going here. If the Republicans would have stayed in power, what would that have done? Not much. Hey, we could get a good debate going here. I'm telling you, it's a not much list. If you don't make plans of your own, guess what? You'll probably always fit into someone else's plans. Guess what someone else may have planned for you? Then what's going to make the difference? You're going to have to make the difference. You're going to have to take charge. Now, Mr. Schultz, my teacher gave me a promise, and I want to give you that promise now. Here was the promise I got, and I bring it to you. Here's what my teacher said. If you will change, Mr. Rohn, he said, if you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change the government. You don't have to change prices. You don't have to change taxes. Forget all that. He said, if you will change, everything will change for you. And the first thing you start changing is what? Your philosophy. You start changing your mind. You start changing how you think. You start picking up new ideas and information. Gather new knowledge. Make better decisions about what's valuable. And I'm telling you, if you'll do that, your whole life will change. Your health will change. Your relationship with your family will change. Your ability to cope with challenges and problems will change. I'm telling you, income, promotions, all of it will change. If you will change, it'll all change. If you won't change, it isn't going to change. You can keep your fingers crossed if you want to and hope they'll straighten it out. You can wish for the wind not to blow quite as severe, but I'm telling you, wishing for the wind to change in your favor, we call naive at best. Don't do this any longer. Wish for a better wind. The key is to wish for the wisdom to set a better sail. Utilize whatever wind it blows to take you wherever you want to go. That is the philosophy I picked up at age 25, and it revolutionized my whole life. And here's what I found. I found it was easy. I got rich by the time I was 31, and it was easy. Now, here's my definition of easy. Got to jot this down. My definition of easy, meaning something I could do. I figure if it's something you can do, it's easy. Now here's a parenthesis. Parenthesis, I worked hard at it. I found something I could do which was easy, but I worked hard at it. I got up early and stayed up late, worked hard that 6 years. But what I did was easy, meaning it was something I could do. You say, well, Mr. Rohn, if it was so easy, how come everybody else around you during that 6 years, how come they didn't get rich? Here's why. It's easy not to. How else would you describe it? That's it. You say, no. For all of the rest of them, it was hard for them and it was easy for you. That's not true. You couldn't debate me on that in front of this intelligent audience. But here's the challenge. Let me give it to you in a philosophical phrase. I tend to be a little philosophical. Here it is. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. That's the difference between success and failure. So you've got the choice here today of one of two easies. Easy to or what? Easy not to. I can give you in one sentence how I got rich by the time I was 31. Here it is in one sentence. I did not neglect to do the easy things I could do every day for 6 years. Underline. I did not neglect. That's the key. I found something easy I could do that led to fortune, and I did not neglect to do it. Major reason for not having everything you want in America. Major reason for not having more of what you want in America. More health, more money, more power, more influence, more everything. Major reason why you don't get it. Simple answer. Neglect. Neglect. And here's the problem with neglect. It starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. And here's what else is the problem. One neglect leads to another. Neglect to do wise things with your money, you'll probably neglect to do wise things with your time. Neglect to do wise things with your time, you'll probably neglect to do wise things with your business. One leads to another, leads to another. Pretty soon, neglect has you by the throat, emptying your purse, emptying your heart, emptying all of your chances for equities and power and all the good things. Neglect. What if you should be walking around the block every day for your good health and you don't? I'm telling you, you're on the wrong track. You should do it, you could do it, you don't do it. That's called formula for disaster. All you've got to do is let that and a few other things accumulate for 6 years, and now you're driving what you don't want to drive, wearing what you don't want to wear, living where you don't want to live, doing what you don't want to do, maybe having become what you really didn't want to become. I'm telling you, that's it. Just neglect along, drift along, and it's got you by the throat. It'll take all your values, leave you with just a little bit of dust in a summer wind, and it'll soon be gone. I hope I said that well. That's it. It's where I found myself at age 25 until my teacher came along and said, Mr. Rohn, up till now you've messed up. Let's see if we can't clean that up, change it all. I did. Changed my life. Not just the money, all the rest of the values that came pouring in when I understood that it was me. It was me. So take the easy approach. This stuff's easy to figure out. Getting rich is easy. I teach it to teenagers. How to be rich by 40. 35 if you're extra bright. This stuff is not difficult. I love to teach kids enterprise.